I like to preface this by saying I'm not some draft guru or, anything like that. I just thought it'd be fun to
I
do.
mean, you worked on this for at least 30 minutes in the car ride up from Jackson today.
Well, I've done previous research, I'd
I
like
know,
to say.
listen.
But yeah, I'm not really a huge basketball guy, so I can't say like my eye for talent's insane or anything. But I put some effort into this list. I cooked it up.
You said
Um,
at least one name I don't think I recognized.
at least one.
I think so.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna start rolling through it. If y'all want to jump in, feel free to. But also, if you don't have anything to say, we can just keep kind of chugging along. So I'm not really gonna stop. I'll maybe give a couple of small pauses for y'all to interject.
Okay.
And feel free. But yeah, Dallas Mavericks are on the clock at number 1. Pretty obvious what they're gonna do. They're taking Cooper Flag, elite two-way prospect, one of the
What if
best.
they trade away?
What if they traded away?
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be crazy from Nico Harrison. I guess you couldn't put it past him. This is a no trades mock. I will go and put that out there right now. So, okay. If they do it,
That's
I
all
will
I had to add.
I will
Sorry.
dance on their grave. But yeah, elite two-way prospect, one of the best prospects we've seen in years. He reclassified, so he's even younger, and so for him to be as polished as he is in all aspects of the game, having no true weaknesses, is just very impressive. Brings great intensity. He's a great defender. He passes well. He rebounds well for his size. He's good in help side defensively, especially around the rim. I guess the one kind of knock on his game, but he improved it steadily throughout the year at Duke. He's not an elite shot creator for himself, but he's been working on it. It's been getting better. There's no reason to believe that's not going to come around. And if he unlocks that, then, I mean, the sky's the limit for this kid. The unanimous. I mean, you're not going to find a mock that has someone else going number 1. Then at number 2, I have the Spurs taking Dylan Harper. There's been a lot of rumors, which I think they're rumors for the sake of making rumors. I don't think there's been tons of substance to this, that the Spurs would consider trading this pick. It's not the Spurs' way to make these big splashes. They like drafting their talent, evaluating it, developing it from the start. Dylan Harper's a great prospect. He'd be the number 1 prospect in a lot of drafts. He would have been the number 1 draft prospect last year. A bigger guard around 6'6", which is what the modern NBA wants, is a bigger point guard that can handle the kind of physical nature of today's game. He's elite at getting into the paint and making plays off 2 feet, and finishing at the rim. He's good with a live dribble. He can defend pretty well. The size at 6'6" helps him with that. The only thing is he doesn't have the best outside shot. Shot at around 30% at Rutgers. But kind of similar to Cooper Flag with his shot creation, there's reason to believe that he has what it takes to develop an outside shot, and it's something he's been working on and will continue to work on. And if he can kind of find that, he has what it takes to stick at the point guard at the next level and really be an all-star alongside Wemby. So there's been question about the fit with the Spurs because they have De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle, but you're just going to go best player available here. So I'm not really too worried about that.
Yeah,
Third.
he's a layup pick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say like the question about fit is like the question of, well, are the Spurs gonna have anybody that can shoot a 3? But my pushback would be, did you watch the last 2.5 weeks of basketball? Like, the Thunder have really no one on that
Sure.
team besides Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe that are like known 3-point shooters. So with Wemby in the center of that defense, like surrounding that team with a bunch of defenders, like the Spurs could be a team if Dylan Harper develops where like they're holding teams under 90 points.
Yeah.
Almost, because they have a chance to be that prolific defensively. So, and Dylan Harper, like, it's Cooper Flag 1, Dylan Harper 2 in my book.
Completely
Outside
agree.
of that, it really anyone could go anywhere. So there's just no reason to not take Dylan Harper here.
Completely agree. And one last thing about fit, I saw someone put it this way on Twitter, and I completely agree. It's like, I don't care how well you fit with everyone on the Spurs team. I just care how you fit alongside Wemby, because that's who you're building around. And he fits really well with Wemby. And so there's no reason not to draft him. Third overall, the 76ers are on the clock. This is another place they've kind of been rumored to maybe looking for a trade. Depends on how they view it, what they want to do in terms of trying to stay competitive, or maybe going into a reloading type of season. I have them going VJ Edgecombe from Baylor. One of the best athletes in this class, one of the best point of attack defenders in this class. I think he's someone that you could plug and play at the next level in terms of the 76ers looking to potentially stay competitive. They already have guys like Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, if he stays healthy, guys that demand the ball a lot. So being able to draft a guy who can come in and defend well immediately, doesn't need the ball to be impactful, I think is a smart decision for them. And he does have upside in that regard. Started off the season shooting pretty poorly at Baylor, but it came around towards the end of the season. And with how athletic he is and explosive he is, there's good reason to believe that he can find a pretty consistent and impactful offensive game at the next level to warrant him being taken this high, because you're not going to take a straight defender at 3. But he has serious upside. So I like him at 3. Number 4, you have the Hornets on the clock. And I have them going Ace Bailey, which is kind of an interesting one. We have all the rumors now that basically is Ace Bailey's trying to tank his draft stock to slide to what we think is he wants to go to Brooklyn. He's not going to any tryouts or meeting with teams. He's doing his own thing. It's not really a good look in my opinion. I don't really know what he's doing. He's being a bit of a bozo. But despite him trying to slide, I think he's too talented to drop to 8, which is where Brooklyn is, if that's really where he wants to go. Unless he does something outrageous, like post a video of him saying slurs or something.
But if he told Brooklyn beforehand, he said psych, before he did it. He said,
correct.
Guys, I'm doing this for y'all.
Yeah. But no, I think he's too good. I think the other player to potentially look at here is Trey Johnson, but he doesn't really fit the Hornets because you already have shooters there like LaMelo and Brandon Miller. I think I'd like someone to play a bit bigger, can potentially develop defensively. But anyway, about Ace Bailey, he's the best shot maker in this class. He'll take tough shots all day, shots that you really don't want him taking, and just knock them down. It's unreal. People have compared it to KD. That's lofty goals. That's a dream scenario for any prospect to get there. But yeah, he just is a great scorer. The only knock is he doesn't really do anything else great yet. Now he's a young player, but I don't really expect him to ever be a great passer. He has the size and length, like I said earlier, to be a good defender. But you're really drafting him on the thought that he can be a offensive stud and just be a first or second option for a championship team. 5, Trey Johnson, from the Texas Longhorns, sadly. Horns down. He's been getting a lot of buzz. Some people have him going as high as 3 to the 76ers. I don't love that fit, so I didn't have him going there. Great shooter, elite shooter. Shot about 40% from 3 at Texas as a freshman. Tough threes, too. I mean, Texas was not a good team. What?
Spelled his name wrong. That's tough.
I should have corrected you. Anyway, so he was the focal point of defensive game plan. So sidestep threes, off the catch threes off the dribble, threes on the move, off curls, whatever. He was hitting them all. And it's just precious commodity in the NBA, honestly, is just to be an elite shooter. And he showed flashes of being a good passer. I don't think he'll ever be anything special there. But reasons to believe he wouldn't be a black hole. The biggest question with him is he's kind of a bit slender, and so his rim pressure isn't great. He may not ever be someone that can really effectively get into the paint and play from 2 feet there. But yeah, I have him going to the Jazz at 5. Wizards at 6. Kind of get scammed in this draft, being one of the worst teams, and ending up picking at 6. But I have them taking a favorite of mine, and Jeremiah Fears from Oklahoma. Fears is another guy that reclassified in this class, like Cooper Flagg. So he's very young, very quick. That's kind of what pops out on the page to me, or on the screen when I watch him, is just how fast, how quick he is. Relentless at attacking the rim. Creates rim pressure all game long and can finish when he gets there, despite a bit of a smaller build. 2 questions for him. High turnover rate. He had over 4 turnovers a game or something like that, which he's a young guy. You hope he can clean that up. And then outside shot was inconsistent at times. So you would really hope he'd be able to find that if he wants to stick at the next level and be a starter. But I just love the kind of it factor and grit he plays with, and that speed is just something you can't teach. So I'd be very happy if I was the Wizards taking him at 6, kind of a consolation for not getting a top pick. At 7, I have Conca from Duke going to the Pelicans. Pelicans are a dumpster fire. I don't really know what I would do if I were them. So I'm just kind of taking someone I think can be a consistent force and be a steady player for them. White guy stereotype. But he's another great shooter. Shot it very well at Duke as a freshman. Has a bit of size to him, so even if he's not the quickest player, I think he'll be able to hold up pretty well defensively. He also has a high IQ. I think he's someone that could be a secondary ball handler and run pick and rolls because of that. He just sees the floor really, really well. So I would like that pick if I was the Pelicans. They're just kind of in purgatory, so it's like what do you do? At 8, I have the Nets taking Kaman Maluwak. I think they may look to move off Nicholas Claxton pretty soon, just considering the market for big men. There's a lot of buyers and not a ton of sellers. So then they could get good value for him and kind of pick the replacement here. Kaman Maluwak hasn't been playing basketball for very long. I think for like 5 or 6 years he's been playing. But at like 7'2", he's a true defensive anchor, just an absolute beast of a rim protector. Not great indicators that he'll ever have an elite offensive game or anything like that, but he's someone that can get down the floor pretty well for his size, throw down lobs. You put him with a good point guard, he can set good screens, do all the little things, and so still be productive and impactful on the offensive end. Just not someone that'll give you 20 points a night or anything like that. At 9, I have the Raptors taking Carter Bryant. The Raptors love their long defensive wings. Time and time again, OG Anunoby, someone like Pascal Siakam, just, a couple examples in recent years. And Carter Bryant is that. He played at Arizona and just truly is a defensive-oriented wing that has risen throughout this draft process. He didn't really score much at all at Arizona. I think around 6 points a game, so really not great. But he shows a good shooting stroke from deep. And so I think he'll be able to find that in the spacing of the NBA, be able to knock down shots, and then combine that with his good defense is just something the Raptors really like. And so I think they'll look to take him here at 9. The Suns, we just talked about the Suns because of the KD trade. But I have them taking Derek Queen. They need help at center, and he's a bit of an unorthodox one at 6'9", so an undersized center. But he has phenomenal hands and just has great vision out of the post as an elite passer there, can really facilitate from there. There's questions about him ever having an outside shot, which considering he's 6'9", would be ideal if he could develop something there. But he's just so crafty, very polished with the footwork and everything, and so could really make an impact there and kind of help sort out their center position, though I do think they need to add something else because he's not really going to profile to be a great defender either, and may take some time. So if they want to contend next year, they'll have to add something else. But I think he's a good building block for down the line. Also to note, that pick they just got back from the Rockets today in their trade. So at 11, I have the Blazers taking Cedric Coward, another 3-and-D wing from Washington State that has had some injury issues, but has been a huge riser in this draft process. Played really well in the games at the Combine. Was actually going to go to Duke. I believe he committed to Duke out of the transfer portal. And then because he played so well, decided to enter the draft. 7'2" wingspan just allows him to be really, really disruptive on the perimeter and also be a good rim protector. And then shoots the ball pretty well. So those two pieces right there, I think it's something the Blazers could really use. They have a lot of guards already. They have Klingon down low. So just another piece to add in there as they look to kind of start getting into their competitive window. 12, the Bulls are on the clock. I have them taking Thomas Sorber out of Georgetown, another center. He has a 7'6" wingspan, just a huge man. I think he processes the game really well. Is a great screen setter, very hard-nosed. Georgetown didn't really have a good team. He was kind of the lone bright spot but was able to create offense for himself until he got injured with a foot injury. Was just putting up a really nice season, and I think he's someone that can come in and give the Bulls a good answer down low to pair with guys like Josh Giddey and Kobe White, set them some good screens, play in the pick and roll with them, and then be solid defensively. So I really, really like that pick for the Bulls. Hawks are a very interesting team at 13. I think they would have loved Thomas Sorber, and they really need a center. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they went with center here. But Kasparis Jakuchonis, who is a point guard, so the opposite of center, is still on the board here from Illinois. And I think they go best player available here. Look to get someone else that can handle the rock besides Trae Young. He's got some size to him as well. So if he finds consistency with his three-point shot that was streaky at Illinois, I think you could play him alongside Trae Young some, even though his primary gift is being a floor general and passing. It's pretty unreal. So I would not be surprised if they went there, but I also would not be surprised if they went with the center. I just don't think there's a center that they really would like at 13. And so we get to the last pick of the lottery, and it's kind of funny I say that the Hawks don't have a center they would like at 13 because I have the Spurs taking a center at 14, and Danny Wolf, which is a bit of a reach probably. But I'm a Spurs fan and want to have some fun with this pick, and I would really like him to play alongside Wemby. He's a very savvy player, has multiple years under his belt at college. True 7-footer, but can shoot and handle the ball really well and passes great for his size. Does have some turnover issues. And there is an overall lack of athleticism that I think caps his ceiling, which is why I would love him alongside Wemby, because the lack of athleticism really is probably going to show up defensively. But if you have Wemby there to help him and really anchor the defense, I think that would allow him to be a little more free. Then you could play him offensively, utilize his skill set, let him try and knock down some shots, initiate some offense, kind of be a funky little piece for the Spurs to experiment with and, throw in a wrinkle into their game plan. So, yeah, that's what I have for the lottery. I was not at all prepared. I feel like I need a massive drink of water now. But it was fun. I enjoyed putting it together. So